because we need to get started. We've got lots of speakers this morning. So I'd like to welcome everyone in the room. Thanks very much for joining us, and also everybody that we've got online as well. So this morning's LIAT breakfast briefing is on developments in agri-tech innovation. So I'm Paula Reed, I'm operational lead for activities here at the Lincoln Institute for Agri-Food Technology, and I will just quickly introduce our speakers. Just one point for everyone in the room, just a housekeeping point. If there is a fire alarm, we're not expecting one, can everyone please just leave the building and collect in the far side of the car park, in the car park behind the conference centre. Thank you. So in terms of our speakers today, we've got 4 speakers. The first 2 speakers are Dr. Louise Sutherland and Emma Garfield. So Louise is the director for the Ceres Agri-Tech partnership, and Emma is the commercialisation manager. And the partnership is looking to develop and commercialise agri-tech innovations from UK universities, bringing them from the lab. From the lab bench to the farmers' fields. So they're going to talk about some of the work they're doing in that space. They're actually based down in Cambridge Enterprise in Cambridge. So we're really pleased to have them join us for this morning. Our third speaker is Richard Meredith, who's head of Dyson Farming Research. And Rich is going to give us kind of an update on all the exciting activities that are happening at Dyson Farming. And then our final speaker is Dr. Alexander Badu. And Alex is an associate professor in analytical chemistry. Has done a lot of work across lots of different disciplines and also in the commercial space. And he's going to talk about one of the projects that he's recently had funded, just to give you a flavour of some of the activity that's happening in the university. So with that, I will hand over. We are going to be moving quite quickly because we've got a lot of speakers to fit in the time. So Louise, I'll hand over to you.
Good morning, everybody. Lovely to see you all, and it's a bit of a brighter, warmer morning this morning, which is lovely. I'm here today to talk to you about Lincoln. You've probably never heard, where's this place, Lincoln, but it's putting together Lincolnshire and North Cambridgeshire. 2 great agricultural areas, and we've got a place-based project funded by EPSRC. So I'd like to talk to you about this project and how it's hoping to change agri-tech in the region. So we've got just under 5 million from EPSRC. We've got partners that have been working together since 2018 around the Ceres initiative, which is who I work for. We've got Cambridge Enterprise with their experience of commercialising innovation for the University of Cambridge, and we've got the University of Lincoln. And I want to catalyse and scale a world-leading agri-tech cluster in Greater Lincolnshire and North Cambridgeshire. Now, we don't believe in doing things on our own. If we're going to drive cluster and we're going to drive growth in the region, we need everybody to be pulling together. So we're working with our civic partners, Lincolnshire County Council, really pleased to see the Food Valley team here today. We're working with CPCA, so Cambridge and Peterborough Combined Authority, which cover the North Cambridgeshire region. We've got district councils, we've got Barclays and the Eagle Lab on site here. We've got Agri-Tech E, and we're working with accelerators such as SVG Thrive. We believe it's going to be a partnership event that we're all going to have to work together if we're actually going to drive agri-tech in the region. So a bit about our place, a wonderful place dominated by some fantastic cathedrals, built on the back of the wealth of agriculture over the centuries. You can see here some of the wonderful soils of the region, but if you look into the top right-hand corner, you'll see that blue area, the Lincoln region, Lincolnshire and down into Cambridgeshire. Now, obviously, the grade 1 soils, of which they're 50% of the UK's grade 1 soils in this region, don't respect county boundaries, and neither are we going to respect county boundaries. We're going where ag-tech calls us. I think it's really important to understand what's special about this place. The region's food production system supports 88,000 jobs, with a GVA of 3.8 billion, making it the most concentrated crop production cluster in the UK. As I said, 50% of grade 1 land, and that produces over 15% of English farm output by value, despite we're only using 7.5% of the total farmed area in England. We're good at what we do. The area has high concentration of arable and horticulture crops, so we produce 33% of vegetables, salads and peas, 29% of sugar beet, 25% of ornamental crops, 19% of potatoes, 15% of wheat, and 12% of vertical farming and advanced glass houses. I had to read those numbers, they're pretty impressive, aren't they? We are the agri-tech place in the UK. But we do have some challenges. We've got some environmental issues. We have over 30,000 hectares of lowland peat soils, where we've got to think about how do we deal with some of those CO2 emissions. We've got 85% of the land is in nitrate vulnerable zones. And we've denuded our biodiversity, not least because of the land drainage that's been happening in the area post the Second World War. We've got challenges around use of synthetic chemicals, and we're all going to be vulnerable to climate change, yes, even in Lincolnshire. The competition on the food supply chain is intense. We've got dominant retailers, and we know that farming returns are really challenging. So how do we change that game? How do we push productivity? How do we improve farm returns? And I think the other thing is to think about the social dimension of Lincolnshire. This region ranks in the bottom decile for professional and associate occupations, but it is in the top decile for people with elementary occupations. In terms of qualifications, only 8.8% of the population have no qualifications, 30% higher than the national average. And the hourly pay is 85% of the national average. And female workers receive 16% less salaries. These are some pretty shocking statistics. Perhaps even worse is that 21% of children live in workerless households, double the national average. So here is Agri-Tech, an opportunity to drive jobs and opportunities in Lincolnshire. So let's talk about how we're going to play our part. So we've set ourselves some pretty demanding targets. We're looking to get investment up to 5 billion over the next 10 years on the back of Agri-Tech. We want to create over 250 high-value jobs, drive sustainability, reduce greenhouse gas emissions and pesticide usage, drive GVA to over 500 million in 20 years, and make sure that we have the right infrastructure to use this tech. We're going to need some good digital skills, and technology and network. Interestingly, I was out in Arizona in November, and Yuma County have taken a decision to put 5G networks across the whole county. That's not just in residential and commercial areas. They've got a series of 52 masts that mean that every field in Yuma County can use Agri-Tech. That's a pretty impressive decision and a pretty impressive investment. So our objectives are to co-create, demonstrate and promote Agri-Tech with farmers and growers. And that's what I'd really like to talk to you about this morning. What are we doing? What have we got in the toy box? And would you like to come and help us? We're developing a portfolio of high quality Agri-Tech innovations, and you're going to hear from Alex later on about the work that we're funding on developing a handheld soil sensor. Again, Alex would like to be working with farmers and growers in the region, so if you'd like to help him, please catch him afterwards. But he's not the only project that we're looking for industry engagement in. We want to support academics, we want to support spin-outs, we want to support businesses with mentoring and training to how to get your head around this new tech. We want to accelerate and support spin-outs of Agri-Tech businesses, and we want to grow the Lincoln cluster, making sure that we've got the right policy in the region, the right planning and the right investment, and hence why we're working with our civic partners. So we were very honoured at the end of January to be invited to the House of Commons to talk to parliamentarians about the work that we're doing. And we pulled this together to try and get the message across simply. Round the outside in blue, you can see what Ceres and its partners has achieved since 2018. We've trained over 380 academics in commercialisation. We've got a fantastic pipeline of over 40 Agri-Tech assets, innovations coming forward. Nowhere else in the country has as many Agri-Tech innovations. All our Agri-Tech innovations hit UN sustainability goals. We've launched 4 spin-outs. 2 are based on the campus here at Barclays Eagle Labs. We've got Agaricus Robotics, which is a mushroom harvesting robot that's been out trialling picking mushrooms at GE's farms. And we've got Fruitcast, which is an AI forecasting company for soft fruit. And they have been trialling last year across a number of farms that are rolling out this year. We're making great progress with our spin-outs. We've got 30 global partners. We've got 26 farmer partners, and we'd like to increase that number today. We've leveraged over 6 million, and we've got 29 spin-outs created in our spin-out. So we're already, from 4 spin-outs, created 29 high-quality jobs. So let me talk to you about some of the projects that we've got. Well, we have a very different approach, and I'd like to share a little bit about the special sauce, the magic sauce, about how we do this. We're very different from anything that you might have interacted with before in terms of Innovate UK funding. We don't have all the forms and the complications. What we want to know is what is the commercial value and the opportunity around the tech. So myself, my team, we work with academics to understand what tech they've got. We get projects from 3 different areas. We work with academics who know Agri-Tech exists and have got tech that they would like to develop and commercialise. We talk to people from different disciplines who perhaps haven't even heard of Agri-Tech and take their tech and apply it in Agri-Tech. And then sometimes we put together teams with a variety of different skills to tackle really challenging problems. We know that across our pipeline, there's over 50 different academic disciplines involved in getting Agri-Tech from the lab bench to farmers' fields. So what we ask our academics is to put themselves in their commercial shoes, which, okay, is not their natural field, but we want them to think about what is the problem, not from their perspective, but from a farmer and grower's perspective. What are those real challenges that we've got to address to make that tech work in the field? I live in Lincolnshire. I'm very used to the wind coming sideways and the mud all over my boots. And that's the kind of environment we want to make sure that the tech works in. But it's also got to work in places like Arizona and California, where it gets really hot. So we've got to build tech that can deal with all these extremes. Because if we're going to create companies that are viable, create lots of jobs, they've got to have global potential. The UK is a great market. We've got fantastic test bed here. We've got great academics, great universities, and great farmers. But actually, we need global scale. So we are reaching out. Simon Pearson this week has been in Evoke, an international conference in Australia, talking to farmers and growers and tech businesses out there. It's a global play, and we want to make Lincolnshire the global hub for Agri-Tech. So how do we get our academics thinking about this from a very commercial perspective? We get them to do a pitch deck. If they're going to be a spin-out, they're going to have to stand in front of an a VC, and ask for money. So they need to be able to articulate the problem. They need to quantify the commercial opportunity, and they need to be able to talk about what the return on investment is for both themselves, the business, the university, but most importantly, farmers and growers. They pitch it to an externally led investment committee, and we are very proud that it's all about people from industry. It's people from banking. It's our chair, Jim Godfrey. He's been chair of LIAT. He's done a lot of work in the research world, but at the end of the day, he's a farmer in Lincolnshire growing potatoes. We've got somebody from retail. We've got people from venture partners. We've got Richard Williamson, who used to be down the road heading up Dyson Farming. We've got people from big corporates, and we've got farmers and growers. So we're very delighted. They hear the pitch and they think, yes, is this commercially viable? Is this what farmers and growers need? If they like what they hear, they fund it. But it's tough. If people don't deliver, the funding stops. You don't get that with an Innovate UK. We really focus the mind, and we make sure that those milestones are what farmers and growers need in the tech, not what is academically interesting. This is translational research. This is not blue sky research. So here are some of our spin-outs that I talked about. You've got Raymond on the right. He was a bit younger in those days. In fact, he was just a fresh PhD student when we met him. He'd done some exciting stuff with his PhD. He'd even managed to get himself on Country File, whooping the presenter with his tech. But actually, we helped him spin out. We helped find a senior management team to put around him. And today, they are now forecasting with great accuracy soft fruit across some really large players in the UK. He even got himself invited to the Global Downing Street Investment Summit and got invited back to Christmas drinks. So well done, Raymond. Agaricus robotics, as I said, really challenging to pick mushrooms, but actually it's a great opportunity if you can use a robotic picker because mushrooms double in size every 24 hours. But if you're only picking on an 8-hour shift, you're not maximising the crop. Picking across 24 hours, 20% to sustainable intensification. And SunExcel is another one that we took from chemistry, a platform chemistry, and we applied it to biocomposites. Things like flax, any cellulose waste product from a plant can be used. And why is this important? Because if you go and open the boot when you get out in the car park, you'll find your parcel shelf is made of biocomposites. They're great on the inside of cars. It's nice and lightweight, but when you put them on the outside, they get wet and soggy and they lose all their strength. But this waterproofs them, enabling them to be used on vehicles, traditional vehicles, or to lightweight cars for electrification. So here's a little snapshot of some of the projects that we've got going. We're working on a new approach to variable rate nitrogen application. We're developing technology to give you fertilizer on demand. We're looking at how do we help you address the nitrate runoff issues. Or how do you deal with pesticides in your water? We've got some really advanced tech to phenotyping to help identify new generations of high-yielding wheat varieties. We've been supporting lots of robot navigation, so you can get it out in the fields, not just for the more complicated things of picking, but actually things like running and collecting. And that will be arriving on farms very shortly. We've been looking at what sort of agri-tech infrastructure do we need? How do we use 5G to download all this computing power that robots and other tech's going to need? We've got novel stuff going on in fruit grading. We are looking at how do we get robots into pack houses to do some of the really difficult stuff around packing and quality and give you an extra pair of hands on the line at peak. And we're looking at new sensor technology for potato stores. So my ask today is we'd love to have you involved in our grower network. We'd love to get your insight into the sort of tech that we're thinking about developing. Have we thought about all the challenges on the farm? And we'd like you to be one of our test beds. So if that's something that you would like to be involved in or find out more, my colleague Emma Garfield is here. Unfortunately, I have to shoot off to an industry meeting, but we'd love to have you involved. We'd love to get your input. So please join us. Thank you very much.
So Emma, if you're okay to do your presentation, then if anyone's got some quick questions, we'll hopefully Emma will be able to answer those questions, and then we'll move on to Richard.
So I've just got a good morning, everyone in the room and online. It's great to see you all. I've just got a short 2.5-minute video to illustrate one of the projects. We gave you a whisk through some of the slides or highlights from our programme. That's not exhaustive, but I'd like to just deep dive over the next 2.5 minutes into a project which is actually based at the Lincoln funded project based at the University of Lincoln here. Okay, so this project is called NBRICS. It's bringing together a decade of research and expertise in agricultural robotics, based here, as I said. And the project is aiming to develop reliable autonomous navigation systems for farm deployment in a variety of locations and environments. And the team have created a university spin-out called Jabus to offer autonomy as a service available to the agriculture sector at scale. Now, the key strength of this lies in the hardware agnostic approach, creating navigation solutions that work across different robotic platforms, from tracked vehicles to car-like steerage systems. This is achieved through standard interfaces. Jabus attracts away hardware specifics, allowing software to operate across a mixed fleet of robots with various sensor configurations. At the core of the system is an AI-enabled hybrid localization, combining satellite navigation with ground-based feature tracking for reliable positioning in any environment, including crop care and monitoring, harvesting and logistics. The robots on the screen navigate seamlessly between indoor and outdoor spaces, detecting and avoiding obstacles, whilst maintaining safe and efficient operation within predefined pathways. To manage multiple robots effectively and efficiently, the team has deployed and developed a comprehensive web-based fleet management and coordination system, accessible from any device, mobile, tablet, or desktop. This system provides real-time monitoring and enables immediate intervention when needed, ensuring safe and efficient coordination of multiple robots alongside human workers. Rapid deployment is achieved through Jabus's AI-powered mapping solution, which automatically identifies navigation areas and restricted zones, allowing the robotic fleet to be operational in a new field within hours rather than days. Using aerial imagery, the image on to the side there, this quickly generates roadmaps for both polytunnel and open field environments, significantly reducing setup time. Remote monitoring enables progress, safety monitoring, and robots to be swapped in and out. So the MBRICS project is bringing these proven solutions together for commercial applications. So I'll just pause the video there before it loops back again. But hopefully that's just given you a very quick flavour on one of the projects. It's a live project at the moment. I'm happy to take any questions on that or any of the information that Louise has shared already.
Thanks, Emma. Do we have any quick questions?
I was interested to see that you're looking at 5G as your source of data. What made you go down that route rather than the satellite?
So actually the autonomous navigation system development, which I've just described, actually covers both satellite and sensors mounted on board the robotic platform. So as I said, it's platform agnostic, so the system is designed to be integrated onto any existing platform. So it can take advantage of any of those navigation systems, so local sensors and satellite or mobile-based as well.
But more broadly across your projects, you know, on Louise's, one of those themes was.
It was, yeah, very fun, so.
I think most of our experience in Lincolnshire is that we're not exactly at the front of the priority queue for good mobile phone networks, whereas something like Starlink might be more reliable and Blue Origin are launching their own.
Well, part of that project that was mentioned was about looking at the potential of 5G within the farmed environment. And I know there's at the university here, there is a 5G station.
Yeah, we've got 5G mast.
Yeah.
And I think that cost about £1 million to build.
Yes, it's expensive. It's expensive, which is why the last project I mentioned was managing with the navigation systems and technology that growers and farmers in the region already have access to.
And the 5G mast is in partnership with BT. So the intention is that it will kind of align to the networks that are, out across Lincolnshire as well. So, yeah, I mean, the 5G capability enables you to do a lot more in the field kind of analysis and get real-time data. So that's kind of what we're working towards. Yeah. Okay. Any more questions? Right, Richard, please. Come on.
Hi everybody, thank you very much for having me today. I'm absolutely useless at standing still, so if I go over there, just throw a pen at me or something. My name is Richard, and So I work at Dyson Dyson Farming Research, and head up the team that we have kind of working on that. I'm just going to give you a quick overview of our business. We're a local Lincolnshire business, and picked out a couple of projects which we're working on, just I thought might be relevant for us today. I must stress that I'm representing, I'm in a team of 210 people, so I'm representing a wider team. I can't take credit for all of the work. Dyson Farming is a family-owned business, about 35,000 acres or 14,000 hectares in new money, predominantly based in Lincolnshire. So we've got sites in Nocton and Carrington, just inside Boston, and then down in Oxfordshire. I think that pinpoint is a little bit too west for my liking for Oxfordshire, but Oxfordshire and where the Dyson family live over in Somerset and Gloucestershire. It's quite a relatively young company. The Dyson family set it up in 2012 with the intention to kind of come in and transform what agriculture means, and doing that through innovation and kind of having the right people around us. Yes, but that's a very kind of marketing spin. Is it just nice words? Is it just fluff? We're trying to kind of emanate that and do things differently. Two particular things that we're working on this year that are kind of priorities at the moment. We're just putting in quite a large brewery down in Oxfordshire. We'll be growing indoor hops that go into that brewery. And we're putting in Nocton in Lincolnshire, we're putting in a big rapeseed oil plant. So all our obviously grape currently goes to somebody else, and they make rapeseed oil of it. So we're really trying to kind of connect that whole supply chain, bring it all together under a Dyson banner, so that we can tell the whole story along the way. So what kind of culture is required to be able to do that? This is Sir James, the boss, as we call him. This is way back when his infamous days were 5 years, his garage for 5 years, and he created 5,126 prototypes, trying to work out how he could change the vacuum cleaner. He had an inkling that the bag was kind of holding back the efficiency of vacuums at the time. The fuller the bags became, the less efficient they became, and the more energy they used. And he felt that something could be done to change that. So he spent 5 years basically in a garage, dismantling vacuums and putting together cardboard kind of prototypes. And he felt then that doing that research, getting that kind of groundwork done, was kind of crucial to kind of making these ideas work for him. And creating that data, establishing the fact, something which he kind of emanates within the business all the time, and everything we do, it has to be data-driven and factually driven. So in 2012, Sir James looked across at the farming sector and really saw something that he could add value to. He had the synergies with the engineering and the technology side. He does come from a rural background. He's not from a farming family, but he's from a rural background, and he really kind of connected to the food that he eats and wanted to kind of change that. When we think about farming today, farmers is such a diverse industry, and I'm a bad one for procrastinating. So I was writing these slides on Monday, and I ended up start writing a list of all the job roles that we have at Dyson, trying to kind of make a story out of that. But what I was just trying to highlight here, farming is kind of you've got a family farmer where they're expected to do all these things, and they're supposed to kind of emanate all of them. Something that's quite unique about Dyson is that we bring all these expertise in-house, and they're all feeding into one company's strategic objective to drive the business forward, and we can bring all those together in one place. In terms of the journey we've been on, started in 2012 with the purchase of Nocton Estate. You'll notice at the beginning of this journey we were called Beeswax Farming, and then 2018 Beeswax Dyson Farming, and then finally in 22 we became Dyson Farming. That really shows the kind of the family's kind of appetite to allow us near their brand. The thing that I've met Sir James a few times, and the thing that always comes out is reputational management. It takes 20 years to build a reputation, and it can take 20 minutes to kind of disintegrate it. So we really had to kind of work ourselves within the internal Dyson family to prove that we were going to add value, and we could be standing next to that Dyson brand. Some of you who've been out will have heard me say this before, but we're currently cousins in the Dyson family to the technology side. And at the moment, we've got a big D at the beginning of our name. When we've got the little d, the same as technology, that's when we're really kind of in the fold, and that's what we're aiming for. We run with 5 different departments: food, energy, environment, research and property. Food is all the farming side, so all the arable crops, potatoes, peas, and then strawberries, which I'll come on to in a moment. Energy, we've got 2 AD plants powering 11,000, close to 11,000 homes, all from crops. We do have waste exemption licenses, but we put crops into those AD plants. The environment's a massive department for us. We really kind of want to enhance the biodiversity and the natural capital of what we've been given. Research, I'm going to touch on that a bit at the end, and finally property. With that kind of investment in the different farms and land, we along came a lot of property with that, and we tried to do our best to kind of invest in it and make it something that's going to be a value for the local community. Now, we spend a lot of time at Dyson as an employee kind of talking about our challenges, and we're going to every kind of quarter or so, we will be kind of mapping out what our industry challenges are. We try not to get too granular with them. This is a really useful exercise for us to help us focus. Is our business to help us to focus whether our business is ready to face these challenges. And this is one that we did about 6 weeks ago now when we came back from the new year. And we as with other kind of times we've done this exercise, fertilizer and fuels, one that we spoke about a lot there. We really are kind of looking kind of massively how do we eliminate the use of synthetic fertilizers and fossil fuels from our business. And that's something that kind of doing this exercise helps us kind of feed into that. Other bigger issues, the nutrition thing, people are taking appetite suppressant medications. We're kind of looking at that and thinking, wow, that's bonkers. We're trying to kind of get our heads around kind of how do we work with that with being a food producer. So for the purpose of today, I'm going to focus on kind of three key themes that we have as a business, and 3 stories that kind of come out of that. First of all, is producing better tasting, more nutritious food grown and produced in Britain. And a really good example of that is our strawberry enterprise. We've got a glass house just outside Boston, just under 30 acres, where we're producing strawberries out of season. So why would you go to all this effort to grow strawberries when they can be grown outdoors in polytunnel systems? So we feel that the need for increasing the food security of British food is kind of this is something that we can add to. The longer and more complex the supply chain is, the more kind of open to disruption and complexity it can be. So I've heard pandemics happen, weather events, political events, all those kind of different things. They can completely disseminate a supply chain in moments. Sustainability, there's a reduced carbon footprint associated to growing food in Britain that covers less miles to get there. And finally, the quality angle, in particular, if we talk about strawberries, we've got strawberries coming in from foreign countries in the off-season for Britain. And those strawberries are grown with a focus on lasting longer through the transportation, so they're really going to get chilled a lot. We've just spent a week out in South Africa looking at fruit farms there, and they're really picking the fruit really prematurely so that it can withstand that journey. And that's why it doesn't taste as great to us. That's why we all going to go, oh, that's not British. And you can really kind of notice the difference there. So we think through the system that we've created, we can produce kind of more sweet, nutritious, juicy strawberries, which for the British consumer. Branding is a massive thing that kind of comes in for us for this. We initially built our glass house in conjunction with the supermarket beginning with W. We got to the kind of the end point of the kind of when we were kind of talking about all the kind of how we work together and how they can sell our fruit. And they put up the photo of the strawberry product that they were going to sell it in, and it didn't have even the name Dyson on it anywhere. So at that stage, we turned around and said, well, come on, no, we're not doing all this work and all this investment for you to go and take all the credit for it. So we went solo for a year and kind of went through selling cooperatives, and we now sell mainly through Marks and Spencers and Sainsbury's on the proviso that they use our brand as part of it. It's co-branded, we work together, we invest in the industry, they invest in us, and put us forward in that sense. Our glass house is 10.5 hectares large and produces 1,100 tonnes of premium strawberry fruit. So we're going for those premium ranges like Red Diamond at M&S. And this is all grown in the shoulder end of the season. So we're growing from March until May, then pick up again from September until around it's about the New Year. We eat it out. So we get photos of picking a Christmas strawberry every year. This is all done because we've got an anaerobic digestion plant, which is next to the glass house, producing the energy for local homes, but also the byproduct of that process is heat coming out, which goes into the glass house and allows us to create an environment which the plant feels like it's summer. We also use the CO2 coming out of that plant to add some sweetness to the strawberries, and it allows us to give that kind of quite unique flavour that we're providing out of season. Technology is a massive part of the setup there. We have robots going along with UV lights, which are eliminating powdery mildew in the glasshouse. We've got, just in time, we've got a fleet of robots, which are picking robots there. That's done with a company called Dogtooth. They are developing their pickers within our glasshouse. Benefit for us is that we get to see how fast it's developing. Benefit for them is that they get a commercial place to try it out. And yeah, that's the UV robot that goes up and down. It's good at night. There you go. You can see it doing the powdery mildew. As far as the glasshouse goes, we're never content standing still. We've got big plans over the next few years, expanding the glasshouse further. And also, I can't actually show it yet, but we'll be soon this year, I hope so, releasing our engineers from Dyson Technology have been coming in and making a vertical farming system, which we can get 2.5 times more fruit from the same footprint. So that's really going to be a kind of massive game changer and quite disruptive in the industry, we think, going forward. In a very Dyson way, we're going to release it all in one go when it's actually ready. We're not allowed to go out to public until things are ready to go, and we're really proud of them. So come on to the technology side of the business. That kind of timeline I showed you earlier of the business kind of growth, I've kind of adapted to that, to some of the kind of things that we've kind of focused our minds on with technology. This is the successes. There are a lot of failures along the way. You've got to have failures to have the successes. But if I pick out a couple of these different projects, on that map, if I get there, the thing that kind of unifies them all is that they're all driven by data. We're a business which is data hungry, and we farm data more than we do crops sometimes. This is just an example of the types of programs that our business relies on. And that's not very joined up with it. There's lots of different things going on around the business. And there's one common theme that goes across them all, and that's that they all run off Excel. And so as a business about 3 years ago, we realized we're a business that's essentially running off Excel and WhatsApp. And that's a bit scary, really, isn't it, when you're a big farming business? So we went on quite a big journey to change that. We created our own platform, which is one source of truth for the whole company. It's called Pioneer. And it just has brought some unity within the business. If you're a farm manager in Oxfordshire or an agronomist in Lincolnshire, you're looking at the same data, the same information. It's not all running off an Excel spreadsheet on somebody's computer that doesn't kind of correlate with everything else. It allows us to kind of have one point where all this information is demonstrated. One interesting area is the Hall of Shame part that you'll see there on that one part. We focus our 20 bottom fields in terms of kind of gross margin that we make from them. We focus our attention to always kind of be getting those 20 fields out of the Hall of Shame. And options of that can be throwing it all into, if it's never going to make money, if it's not going to be profitable, if you're putting it into woodland or some kind of environmental schemes, we can make all those considerations. It makes us always be focusing on those bottom ones to lift them up and to bring them out. The one thing that kind of the next step with this program would be that we're still having to enter all the data onto those 26 programs I showed you. The next step for us would be having this program that we have here as the one point of data entry as well. So that's the kind of the work in progress for us. A very quick one, a second project that we've been working on for the past years is spot spraying. So typically when you're spraying a herbicide in the field, you know there's a black weedy area there, so you go through the sprayer and spray a blanket across that. We've been working with a company called Bilberry to develop their algorithms of putting 12 RGB cameras along our sprayer booms. So before the sprayer nozzle actually kind of arrives at the weed, the camera is sensing what weed is there and just spraying through that nozzle to go put the herbicide on that weed. And that really allows you to target your amount of herbicide use and reduce cost. The government are actually paying for the scheme to do this. It's such a kind of a great kind of way of doing that. And this is an example that we did post harvest last year. It's just water on that actually. It was a nice day. We wanted it to look good. But it really kind of this whole system has allowed us to reduce our herbicide use by, we think, between 70 and 80%. It's quite hard because it's relative to the year, kind of pressures that you have that year. But it's been a real kind of game changer for us. And that's been working with another company. We're not bullish in that we're always going to be doing things in house. We're not going to have all the expertise everywhere. When we see real potential in technology that's being covered elsewhere in the industry, we like to bring it into the fold and kind of work with those people. So yeah. So finally, experimentation and research, the bit that independent that underpins it all, and kind of how does that help us on our journey? I mentioned that bit earlier about kind of we regularly are looking at what our industry challenges are, but why is this so important for us? And the analogy that we use to each other, we're always going to pump each other on why are we doing all this, and let's say that we're kind of running towards our challenges and doing that with kind of pace and enthusiasm. And the key element for us is surrounding ourselves with people with a similar mindset, people that are going to kind of be kind of helping to grow and develop our industry. Approaching research is really difficult, and I've made a career out of kind of working in agricultural research, and it's really hard because farmers and a problem arises today. Farmers want the answer yesterday, don't they? They're kind of like thinking, "Come on, where's the research? Where's everything into this?" But you're working at the same pace. You're trying to work ahead of them half the time and trying to kind of foresee what's going to be on the horizon. And our farms are no different to that. Linking our research and what Louise was talking about earlier, that's the positive step forward for our industry, is kind of having that kind of that cycle between research and practice is kind of where we need to be. It's the holy grail really of what we're doing. So for us, asking our farm managers to take a risk is particularly hard. It's a challenge for me. If I go out to, I'll use Dave, our farm manager at Nocton. He's a particularly kind of straight talking Lincolnshire bloke. You go out to him and say, "Dave, we've got the best product in the world. The research has shown it's going to increase yields, cut the carbon, and all these kind of things." And he's farming quite a big area. He'll just say it's too much of a risk. We're held accountable in our profit and loss of all the farms. He'll say it's too much risk here just to base on research which you're doing. So to kind of combat that, we're going down a journey within Lincolnshire. You'll be glad to hear. Our own innovation farm, we're going to take out 3% of our productive land area and dedicate it just to research, where we can encourage our colleagues to be more brave, and we're going to take that 1,000 acres out of the profit and loss accounts that we're running, and so within an effort that nobody at the end of the day is kind of thinking, "Oh God, it's going to affect the financial viability of it," because if it does its job correctly, it will be improving the financial viability of the entire business. So this is kind of a new idea for us. We kind of came up with it over the kind of winter period. After harvest, we can have a bit of time kind of collating our thoughts, but we're working hard now to kind of start baselining this farm very kind of detailed, so that in kind of 2-3 years time we can know what difference we've made to it by doing these different things and trying out these different things. We've got ideas of having different multiple rotations within the farm, so that we can compare say a green or biological rotation against a farm standard one, and have lots of different things feeding into it. The thing that's probably notable for this room is that we want this to be a incubator for tech projects. We get a lot of approaches for people kind of with PhDs or any kind of projects that have got great technology that's kind of they need some help with. We don't always have the time and the money to dedicate towards that, and we really kind of sits in our mind. What we'd like to do going forward is kind of say to those people, "Yeah, brilliant. We think your idea is fantastic. Come and try it out on our farm. Use this tech farm. We've got a field a week. You can try it in. You can go do that. As long as you just share the journey with us, we want to know what's going on. You can use this as a platform for your things as well." Like that idea of the robots in the glass house, we get to see how it's working in our business. They get to use our business to do that going forward, and everybody kind of is walks away having developed with that. And finally, what accelerates research, and I think most researchers would say funding, of course. Louise mentioned Innovate UK earlier. We do work on various different Innovate UK consortiums. These really do help us kind of focus our mind on and give us a structure to work through. And we've worked with some brilliant partners through this, like probably partners that we wouldn't have worked through if we hadn't entered the Innovate UK process with them. And yeah, it's been a fantastic kind of journey for us, because I'm sure many of you have worked with Innovate UK before. Our size, we're at the lower end of the model. We also make sure that any projects that we're involved with, that there is a KE element to them, so knowledge being shared at the end of it, because we do see the ownership that we are a large business, and you can question why should you receive government funding for this? We make sure that those projects that we are doing within Agri-Tech are intrinsically linked with sharing with the rest of the industry to take it forward. We do have other projects like the sort of one that we keep in-house, that's entirely for us. And we're kind of quite clear about that, black and white about it. We find it helps kind of communicate what we're doing. But when I was in South Africa the other day, the other week, they could just say, kind of, we're open for business, and they could say, yeah, they were very acutely aware that they were kind of trading. I don't think we do it enough in the UK, but I'm going to say the same for Dyson Farming. We're open for business, we're open for collaboration with the industry. And very finally, I think kind of just the kind of point I'd like to make is kind of if James Dyson hadn't spent his 5 years in that garage, just looking at the 5,126 prototypes, I'm sure we'd still have vacuums today, that the floors wouldn't all be messy just because of that. But because he came in and because he propelled it forward in the way he did, it moved the industry, the vacuum industry forward. It propelled it forward in the way it does. We want to do the same in agriculture. Agriculture is always going to be there, but we want to be a force for good to push it forward and take it to the new horizons. Thank you very much.
In terms of how things are progressing at Dyson Farming, so I think. Is there a quick question, Alex?
Impressive facilities for growing strawberries. I picked up that you're using anaerobic digestion to power that facility to utilize carbon dioxide and so on. How about digestates? Because digestates is full of nutrients. Are you using it? And if not, what is the key limitation of using digestate?
Did everyone hear that question? Sorry, I just want to make sure that.
So what's the use of the digestates coming out, the byproduct coming out of the AD plants? So we're putting in crops like oats and vetch, rye and maize. They create the biogas, which makes the energy, and then you have this digestate at the end of it all. We use that to put back onto the land as a fertilizer. We have done numerous trials on of using it in the glasshouse with the fruit. It's actually too nutrient rich that it grows kind of. The plants throw too much fruit and it's kind of poor quality, so we can't actually get that kind of mix right. We've tried mixing it with sheep's wool, shavings, everything, and done all sorts of things. It's been one of the first ones I actually did when I joined the business. But we can't so far find a way of using it for actually growing media.
You are using it.
We use it on the business, yeah. That kind of, we've got this ambition to eliminate synthetic fertilizers over the course of the next few years. We're only going to be able to do that with digestate and creating that system. It's this whole circular farm approach. Every time something's leaving the business as a waste product, we have to kind of think, where can we actually use it elsewhere?
Okay, thank you. Alex, would you like to come up? So our last speaker. Good morning.
Right, so my name is Alex Radu, and I'm one of the team, Alex and Faiz, who are developing soil sensor, or a device that we are hoping will be able to measure plant nutrients in soil and water. So this part is, this project is actually just yet been funded. We were awarded the funding in December, so a couple months ago. We're just about to start. So I'm going to talk to you more about ideas and plans than actual results, but hopefully it will convince you that the project was worth funding, which the committee really thought it was. I was thinking to talk about challenges about assessing plant nutrients, but I think I'm preaching to the choir here, because all of you here are, I think, pretty much aware of what the challenges are when it comes to measuring plant nutrients, right, in order to improving efficiency of nutrients, protect the environment, and so on. So I'm not going to spend too much time about it, and I'm pretty sure that you also are aware about the problems of soil sampling, time-consuming problems, and so on. So I don't really want to spend too much time As a chemist, so my background is a chemist. I'm an analytical chemist. My career is based on instrumentation for measurement, but I understand that this type of instrumentation, the lab-based instrumentation, is not really ideal for the practitioners like most of you are here, because they are not necessarily fit for purpose, right? It costs a lot of money to actually, for an agronomist or for a farmer to actually take the sample to the lab, pay the cost for lab analyses, which is actually by the virtue of being fairly complicated and needing very technical personnel to run this instrumentation, that the cost of this analysis is quite high. And the problem also is becoming that, you guys are not getting the data immediately in time when the data is necessary, especially when it comes to nitrogen. So we did a little bit of market research before, applying for these grants. And that market research actually told us about these challenges in terms of price, but also what I've learned is that farming community also would like to have data integrated into maybe existing technologies, perhaps worried about the complexity of technology that could be actually taken down to the field. But there is also an issue of education, and I understand actually two directions in the problem of education. One is perhaps the farming community. Not everybody is apparently aware of the needs for testing that, for example, DEFRA is pushing. And as I said, I believe that all of you are aware of that, but apparently not the entire sector is. But the other avenue is education of us as in academics and especially chemists, right? I've since been involved in this type of research and moving my research towards practical applications. I realize how what I'm basically ending up is sitting in my office or sitting in the lab and inventing problems and trying to solve the problems that are not necessarily there out there. Louise actually really eloquently puts that problem with academics and not being really aware about the commercial side and the actual practical needs. Right. So those are the challenges that I personally uncovered during this market research and during the last couple of years. And I learned the most when I actually spent some time shadowing two agronomists for 2 days in terms of soil sampling and then analysis of all the soil and all that. And what I've learned in those 2 days, I think I learned more than a few years reading books and papers and whatnot. What it showed to me is that the first thing that is important is the device that is going to measure nutrients in the field has to be very simple for operation, very robust, as in if this agronomist, there's a photo of yours truly taking soil sample, and the agronomist is having fun looking at me digging that soil and enjoying apparently my pain of digging. But robust in terms when we're driving to the field, he was having all sorts of different equipment and everything is on the back of his truck, and so really, has to be robust in mechanical terms. And this is something that I never really thought about. User-friendly while walking the field, again, walking with the agronomist, walking the field, I actually realized how much time and how involved this is. And there is really not much time and effort and space to actually bring all sorts of instrumentations, so many things that followed other solutions, other techniques instrumentation imaging. And obviously immediate reliable results to be interfaced with tablets, smartphones or so that there is less data interpretation. Because again, I understand that the lab-based instrumentation gives you numbers and then people have to do something with those numbers. So thinking of all that, learning about these things, right? Thinking of all that, I was then working in, not necessarily in my garage, but I just commissioned the company to make this thing. So it is what we call soil sensor. Probably will change the name in the future, but this is the type. This is the actually prototype for which we were granted the funding by Lincoln, as I said a couple months ago, which I hope you can see is fairly robust. It can be held in hand in a, it's not really flimsy. And I was thinking if people are walking the field and it's raining, you have your gloves and you can work this. And there is only one button to actually press start and stop. These are the sensors. This is the housing that actually contains electronic circuitry, which acquires the data and then sends the data wirelessly. For now, we have this little antenna here, which can be connected to your laptop, which is probably sitting in the car. And then the idea is that the agronomist or whoever farmer is going to walk the field and then use this to measure nutrients in soil. Yes, I said it is complicated to sample soil, but however much we try to simplify, we have to go through the process of taking a little bit of soil sample. And we still need to do a little bit of processing. So we can do this measurement in the field with some minimal processing, a little bit of soil, placing that soil in some sort of a cup, and then immersing sensors in that solution. Measurements, about a few minutes, no more than that. These are, as I said, these are the modules, sensor modules. Each sensor module can be measuring 4 independent nutrients, or better yet, using 4 sensors to measure 1 nutrient in order to improve precision and accuracy. And in using it in that configuration, we are confident that we can achieve accuracy and precision of close to instrumentation. For some of the scientists perhaps in the room, testing not in the field, but testing this type of sensors in the lab, this actually shows a comparison of data obtained by these type of sensors, this type of technology against another relevant lab-based technology. What you want to see here is, if you see this line crossing the graph, the closer the data points to that line, the better correlation is. So whatever statistical analysis shows there may or may not be important, but what we want to look at are the experimental data points that are as close to the middle line as possible. This graph shows measurements for nitrates and ammonium separately in soil samples collected from a few photos later on, from some arable land, from grassland, from improved grassland, and from forest. So back to modules. So in my ideal world, this one module is for 1 nutrient. There are spaces for 4 different nutrients. At the moment, we are targeting nitrates, ammonium, potassium, and pH. While I can, again, in my ideal world, I can easily see development in calcium, magnesium, chloride, sodium. These are 4 that I'm very, very confident about. Sulfate, sulfide can come very easily as well with a little bit more time and energy. Another thing that I think this is important is, again, I hope you see it as very robust. So it can be chucked in your chuck. Once the measurements are done, rather than disposing of, we are hoping that whoever is going to use the technology will actually return these modules to us for refreshing, recalibration, and then sending it back so that they are ready to use. So they will be ready to use without no doing any preparation or anything like that. But taking them, you have your device sitting at home. You get modules from us, and no glasses. Maybe I need to come up with a prototype that doesn't need glasses to see how we operate it. And then the modules are coming ready and ready for going into the field. So this is a small little presentation of the prototype that we are going to develop and work towards developing in the next year, because that's the length of the project. So what we are planning to do in the next 12 months is to evaluate its performance in various different types of soil, locations, practices, and so on. We are also, SPAIS's part is development of AI-assisted user interface. So I'm working on technology aspect, or chemistry aspect. SPAIS is the part of the team who is going to work on development of AI-assisted interface for processing data, visualizing, doing some help in terms of interpretation. So with this, what I'm here for is also ask you to, basically recruit you for help, because we want to keep developing this, co-create with the actual practitioners, right? So if we can talk afterwards, we're going to run more interviews, more surveys, so that we can learn what exactly you guys need. So we develop fit for purpose sensor. Not something that I imagine is the problem, but something that I learned directly from you. So that's all from me. Thank you for listening.
Not a question as such, but just to say, so I work for a product development consultancy science engineer, and I actually developed last year a product that does soil sampling in the field, very similar to this. And just to say that I'd like to have a conversation with you before you run off, so I can.
I'm actually here until this is done, so more than happy, especially if there is coffee outside.
Yeah, be great to chat.
Thank you.
Very simply, when can I buy one and how much is it? I think you've answered.
We hope that after the end of the project in 12 months, we'll be in the position to license or spin out the company. Once we do that, then I will tell you that you will be able to buy from us, and then how much does it cost. But the projections that we made are, I know that I'm not answering the question, but I'm going to try to answer the question as accurately as possible. We made some projections of costs. This was based on many assumptions, but we were projecting the cost for the device, something that around the costs of a couple of years of worth of the soil testing. So if this is about 350 pounds per year, this was the assumption, then the price will probably reflect that price for the actual user to return after maybe a couple of years of usage.
Could you put the sensors at the bottom of your shoes? Just walk across the field.
Oh, okay. Then it would cost $1 million.
Okay, well, oh, sorry, another question.
If you do spin this out, would there be plans to go, I know it's a lot more complicated, but organic matters and also tissue testing?
The short answer, no. Because this type of technology is optimal for small ions. Small ions as in nitrate, ammonium, potassium, so on. The organic, complex organic molecules cannot be detected.
Could you do a similar device for tissue testing?
Tissue testing.
Yeah, where you're looking at the nutrients within the plant.
Again, no, we would need completely different type of technology. I know that there are different types of spectroscopies that you can shoot into the leaf, and then through what we call not direct measurements, but direct using proxies. Yes, using the color, then you can estimate what nutrients are in there. So I'm aware of that, but not with this one. This has to be direct measurement of small ions, nutrients in
Okay, thanks everyone. I'd like to once again thank our speakers this morning. I think we've had some really interesting and amazing talks, which are kind of showcasing some of the developments that we're doing in Agri-Tech. I'd like to thank the audience both in the room and also the audience online. And just encourage anyone that wants to stay in contact with us, wants further information, please, we've got Nicola, we've also got Alexandra from the Linkam team who can give us a wave. So if you haven't already spoken to them, please feel free to kind of, pass on details. And our speakers, most of our speakers are going to be around, I think, till the end, till 10:30, till the end of the session. So once again, thank you. And I hope you've found the morning interesting and informative.